Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, hello, whatever time it is with you and wherever you are. Thank you for downloading this SmackDown review as part of the WWE podcast. As always, it's an absolute pleasure to have you listening along once again. I am Amanda, your host of the SmackDown review. Before we start the review, let's take a second and make some predictions for Clash in Italy, which is on Sunday this week, guys. Sunday, not Saturday. It's been a long time since we've had a pay-per-view on a Sunday. I'm guessing that's because I think there's a AAA thing going on the Saturday. Anyway, let's get to the card in no particular order. We've got Roman Reigns versus Jacob Fatu, which is tribal combat for the World Heavyweight Championship. Now, I have this as a win for Roman, with some shenanigans leading up to what I think might be a SummerSlam match, which is when we hopefully crown Fatu as our new champ. Cody Rhodes versus Gunther for the undisputed WWE Championship. I've got this as a retention for Cody, but where's Randy gone? I feel like he might appear here and might just figure some way in this match. Rhea Ripley versus Jade Cargill for the WWE Women's Championship. Please, dear God of wrestling, please make this a Rhea retention and piss off Jade and the B-card army. Becky Lynch versus Sol Ruka for the Women's Intercontinental Championship. Now, I think this is going to be our one big title change on of this PLE, and I've got Sol Ruka to win nice and clean. We've then got Brock Lesnar versus Obafemi. This has got me confused as hell. Brock retired and it was a really good WrestleMania moment. Don't know really why we're backpedaling on it. I'm guessing we get a Brock win unless we get an Oba win. I really just don't know. Due to how much he has been made to look like super strong, surely it's going to be an Oba win. It's a tricky one. If you make me call it, I'm going to say Brock, and we go to a third deciding match. It's a decent card at least, and I'm sure the Italian crowd will be absolutely buzzing. Right, let's get to it and review the SmackDown that aired May 29 from Barcelona, Spain. And we get our rivals. We see Cody. And he's going to have a face-to-face with Gunther tonight. We've got Melo and Ricky Saints. They're going to have a match also. Chelsea Green versus Nia Jax. And we see Nia and Lash arrive, as always, met with huge boos. Not too bad of a show by the looks of things, and the Spanish crowd are so up for it. It sounds like we're at the Nou Camp. Joe Tess introduces the Spanish announce teams whose mics aren't turned on, and that's embarrassing. Wade and Joe tell us how epic the Clash in Italy card is, and I can't disagree too much with that. We then get a recap of the 6-woman tag from last week, and that brings out Jade with her B-card army and in tow. Pretty heavy boos from the sounds of things. Jade goes to speak and is met with even more boos. She tells the crowd to soak it in. And she says, "Why are you acting like I've got something to prove?" She says she's Jade Cargill. She's one of one. She says what they're all mad about is that she does what she wants. And then B-Fab starts up and says, at Clash, Jade will beat Rhea. Meechin says the future isn't coming, it's now. We actually miss most of what they all really have to say because Netflix are having to bleep the shut the F up chants that are now pretty much constant. They are interrupted by Rhea, who in contrast gets absolutely massive cheer and the crowd go completely crazy for her. Rhea tells Jade every single week you try and throw around your dominance, acting like most of your success isn't down to you using other people to make yourself look better. She says you keep forgetting when it's just me and you in the ring. I beat you. She says I beat you at Mania, and this Sunday I'm going to beat you again. She says that you can continue to throw around your self-given dominance because on Sunday you'll be looking up at the real true champion. Jade asks her if she hears how stupid she sounds, And she says, you think the division revolves around you? She says that the B-card army are with her because they want power. She calls Rhea weak for working with women who don't even like her. And that brings out Flair and Bliss. And guys, the roof to the arena absolutely blows off at the sight of these two. Flair says to Jade, you're out here talking like a Hall of Famer when you've been here like 5 minutes. She tells her not to confuse her own hype with actual achievements. B-Fab tries to chip in and Flair tells her if I wanted to talk to one of Jade accessories, I would, which is awesome line, one of the best ones I've heard in forever. Bliss tells Jade that she says she's the future, but she might want to check she says that before she's actually achieved something. She tells her she's got the ego of a legend and the resume of a rookie, which usurps Flair's earlier comment as my new favourite comment of the night. Jade tells Bliss that she won't be talked down to by Flair's ragdoll. Bliss warns her that she's gone toe-to-toe with people on the mic and in the ring that are way better than her, and she says, don't make me embarrass you. We then get Aldous out, who makes the fight between Bliss and Jade. I hope Bliss kicks the piss out of her. This was a pretty strong opening segment in my opinion. I think the European crowd always makes the shows better as they are so engaged and just sort of carry you along. That match is up first and we kick off with Bliss looking very strong. Now, my Spanish is a bit rusty, but I think the crowd are chanting Reina at Bliss, which I think means Queen, and they are so into this, but it isn't long before the match switches in Jade's favour, and just like that, the crowd turn very quickly. This one ends, unfortunately, quickly, as Jade hits Jaded once again to massive boos. Bliss pushed her and fought well. And with the match over, we get Jade bringing a chair into the ring. And unfortunately, Bliss has lost her backup because they went chasing after the B-card army, which results in Jade hitting Jaded again onto the steel chair, again to massive boos. And finally, we get Rhea and Flair back to the ring to chase off Jade. Good building to Clash in Italy with this segment and a nice, fun, very strong start to the show. We switch to Cody and Gunther now and look back over last week's match with Sammy and the subsequent shenanigans from Gunther. And obviously we had Sammy turning his back on Cody, what looked like once and for all. Kathy has got Cody backstage and she asked him how he's feeling. He goes to answer, but Sammy turns up and he's looking a bit rough. He's got no branded gear on. He's just wearing like a grey Primark t-shirt and he looks a bit grubby and tired. He faces up to Cody and Cody tells him he's got nothing to say to him. Sammy says maybe you should say sorry. He says he didn't ask for the fight last week, and even when they did fight, he says he has Cody's back against Gunther and that he took care of him. Delusional much. Cody says enough is enough. He says he did nothing wrong. He says Sammy stood there and watched him get choked out. Sammy says that he wanted to help him. He said he was a good guy and it took everything in him not to help him. He says the reason he didn't help was so Cody could learn a lesson. I mean, Cody's got more restraint than me. I think I'd punch him in the face. Cody says once he's done with Gunther tonight, he's going to teach Sammy a lesson too. So we seem to be continuing with heel Sammy, which I don't mind at all. I don't know what the end game is, though. Is he to fight Cody and presumably lose? Unless he does something extremely heely to get the win by dodgy means. Anyway, let's see. I guess I don't hate this storyline at all. I just wish that Cody would sort of stand up to him a bit quicker, but then I guess this is the sort of definition of a slow burn story. We then get a bit backstage with Nick Aldis and Danhausen. Nick warning Danhausen not to do any more experiments. Nick tells him what he wants to do is for him to appear in front of the SmackDown crowd. Miz says that he wants his match postponed tonight as Kit isn't here and he doesn't want to take on Axiom in his home country without Kit. Nick says he doesn't care and he tells Miz that that match is up next. I do love the old home crowd favourite while we're in Europe. Expect an Axiom win and even more of a loud crowd if that's possible. As expected, this one kicks off fast, and Axiom with the crowd behind him 1,000,000%. Joe Test lets us know that Axiom is the first wrestler of Spanish heritage to be signed by WWE, which I hadn't actually realised. But I guess the Spanish speakers that they have on the roster, for example, Rey Mysterio and the other luchadors, are Latin American rather than Spanish heritage. So that's actually an interesting fact. We get some weird light flashing throughout the whole of this match, and that's how we move to the end. We've got Miz up on the top rope going for one move or another, but the lights keep flashing on and off. And off of that distraction, we get Axiom hitting the Spanish Fly, followed by the Golden Ratio, and he gets the win in what was a very fun match. I have no problem with this at all. Joe Test blaming the lights on the heat in Barcelona and Wade furiously blaming Danhausen. So we continue to build the whole Miz Danhausen angle with Kit, as well as giving Axiom the what has become very traditional home push pop, which is just great stuff. We get Priest and Truth backstage. We've got Truth telling Priest that he isn't medically cleared, but he tells Priest that he has got him a tag team partner for tonight and brings out Royce Keys to tag with him. Priest tells him he won't tag with Royce, he doesn't trust him, and he says, why does this feel like a setup? Truth does Truth things and eventually tells them to tag and get on with it, and basically they do. Honestly, this feels a little bit shoehorned in unless there is more to it, like Royce turns on Priest and does join the MFTs. I mean, they are kind of depleted since the releases, but if it's just a no storyline bridge for tonight only, then I have to say it sucks a bit. We go to Sammy, who is with Candice LeRae, bitching and moaning about his situation with Cody to her. She doesn't look that interested, but it turns out Sammy's actually talking to Comatose Johnny, again, who is obviously doing a big sell on this whole laying down on flat surfaces angle. Matt Cardona comes over and asks him what's going on and tells him to stop whining. He says since he came back things aren't going his way either. Starts to call him a little bitch and Sammy starts going off on one again. Sammy says he can't let this stand and he offers out Cardona for a fight tonight. Let's see then. I wonder how the Spain crowd will react to Sammy. He's currently getting very booed in the US, so I wonder how that is going to translate here. Next out, we've got Priest and Royce versus the MFTs, and this one kicks off. We've got Royce Keys in with Tama Tonga, and Royce is looking good. Tala and Tama doing a good job of stopping Royce getting the tag as the crowd chant randomly for the OTC here. We get Solo up on the apron, spiking Damien behind the ref's back, and that brings out Truth, who beats down Solo. We then get plenty of ringside shenanigans. Whilst in the ring, Tala hits the T-bomb power slam on Priest and takes the win. So basically, really, another MFT win thanks to shenanigans. Can they ever win clean? I don't think they can. And still Solo trying to court Royce, which is embarrassing. Give it up, Solo. He doesn't want to be with you. Let it go. We then go backstage to Miz, who is shouting at Nick about he's going to sue him. And we get another Danhausen bit with a fire extinguisher, giving it to Miz right in his face. We then get a big old recap of the Roman Fatu situation before we get more card info and Joe Tess saying a few times so far this evening that Gunther is at home in Europe. I mean, technically that is true, but it is a whole continent, Joe Tess, so not really. Anyway, we have got Chelsea backstage with Tiffy. Tiffy tells Chelsea that she won't be coming out to help her tonight. And she just says it's just not that deep. And Chelsea says, okay, see you after. And she looks like someone's just kicked her in the face. I do really like this Chelsea-Tiffy team thing. I hope they go with it and develop it, because I think these two could be pretty ace together. Next out, we've got Sammy, and he's got his match with Cadona. And honestly, Sammy seems way more popular here. So maybe this is where all the ride or die fans live. There's no booze for Sammy in Spain at all. This is like old school over face Sammy, which is really weird as it contrasts so massively with what he gets in the US. This one is a pretty good match. These two are very equally matched up, and the crowd are very into it. We get Sammy taking the win, and the crowd are 100% behind him. We then get told by comms that it's almost time for King and Queen of the Ring, and we start qualifying soon, with the winners getting title shots at SummerSlam, which is pretty cool. I think we started that last year or the year before. Which reminds me, I don't think we know where SummerSlam is this year, but if I remember rightly, and I may not, but I think King and Queen of the Ring have been in Saudi the last couple of years. And do we know what's happening with any Saudi shows this year with the war in that part of the world? And then taking it one step further, isn't WrestleMania supposed to be in Saudi as well next year? I don't think we've had any update. I wonder if they don't know themselves yet, but it certainly doesn't seem a particularly safe place in the world to visit at the moment. We go backstage where Gunther tells Nick next time they come to Spain they should go to Madrid. Cheap heat move from Gunther. And next out we get Trick, and he's even more over here too. And he has even dragged little Yachty with him on tour. Seriously, has this guy actually got nothing else to do other than follow around after Trick Williams? Trick gets on the mic and says that he's been holding down the brand for ages. He says he took out Miz, he's took out Mello, and what's next? He says he's proved he is the future of the business, and with King of the Ring round the corner, he declares himself for that. We then get Mello out, who also gets a hell of a reception. He tells Trick King of the Ring, maybe not. He says King of the Mic, yes. King of the Entrance, yes, but maybe not King of the Ring. He says tonight he's going to take care of Ricky Saints, and then he wants to take on Trick for the title. Trick says, is this what you want to see? They start to face off, and then we get Ricky Saints out, who, I have to be honest, I'm still not buying, not even a little bit yet. He says no one wants to see this right now, they want to see him. He says last week Trick sucker punched him, and once he's done with Mello, he will get his hands on the title. Trick tells him he looks like a bobblehead and he sucks. He says once you figure out who is best between you two, he'll fight the winner. Ricky starts chopsing off, and Trick lavers him with a sucker punch as we get ready for this match between Ricky and Mello. I said this last time, so I won't labour the point too much, but I think because I don't watch NXT, I don't have feels for either Trick or Ricky Saints yet. I didn't for Mello in the beginning either when he arrived, and these take time to build up for me for sure. So at the moment, I'm not really that sure I care at all. This one ends up with a bit of a whimper as we get a double count out, so I guess we are ending up with a triple threat match for the title at some point down the line. We then get quite an elaborate VT package on the Obafemi Brock match and a recap of the Mania retirement, non-retirement, what the hell's going on, no one knows. And then more promo for Blake Monroe. She seems to call out Rhea, telling her not to get too comfortable as she's coming to SmackDown. That's quite cool. You can colour me intrigued. If she is getting right into the title picture with Rhea, then yes, definitely, please. Let's get rid of Jade and get Blake in. Next up, we've got Nia versus Chelsea. Nia not over, and the Crickets follow her all the way to Europe. Let's hope that Chelsea just gets through this match without getting proper hurt. Nia starts off flinging Chelsea across the ring a couple of times, but Chelsea does manage to get her out of the ring and follow up with a really nice suicide dive. That comeback doesn't last long though, as Nia gets herself a close cover. And we get some predictable shenanigans as Lash tries to cause some chaos. This brings out Tiffy, though, who lumps Nia in the head with the title, giving Chelsea an opportunity to get the pin over Nia and the win, which is great to see. I am really happy to see Chelsea getting a push and actually in action on TV. I was worried as she seemed to one by one lose her secret Hervis through injuries and release, but I think this with Tiffy could actually be something quite good. And I don't think we're done with these two with Nia and Lash either. So this is all a very good angle as far as I'm concerned. We go backstage where Kathy has Paige and Bree. She asks them about the target on their backs. Bree says they don't mind, they're happy to defend as and when. They're interrupted by J, who declares herself the Queen of the Ring. They then offer out Paige and Bree, telling them that soon everyone will be under the Fatal Influence. I am still really enjoying Fatal Influence. They have been an absolute masterclass of how to bring people up and keep them strong, even if you don't necessarily know them. Next up, we've got, I guess, what would be our main event. It's a face-to-face between Cody and Gunther. Cody, as always, wherever he is in the world, out to an absolutely huge pop. Gunther, on the other hand, out to huge boos. And this one is set up as your typical professional wrestling good guy versus bad guy, just perfectly. Gunther says that he isn't here to engage with the crowd. He's here to tell Cody how he feels about him. He says he's figured out the show always has to be about Cody. He says you're a product of the culture you grew up in. He says it's fitting that your name is Nightmare, as you're a perfect symbol of the crumbling American dream. Wow. He says he was told as a kid you had to work hard and sacrifice and you can achieve it all, and he says he has done that. But he says Cody has everything as just one phone call away. He says his training, one phone call away. His contract, one phone call away. He says when he came back from AEW, although he doesn't actually obviously mention AEW, because if anyone on WWE TV mentions AEW, I think they just spontaneously combust. But when he came back, it was a phone call. He says all that makes him is a little entitled brat. He says we have the same profession, but we are nothing alike. He says you need the crowd's approval, you need the company's approval, and Gunther says that doesn't matter to me at all. All he wants to be is the best professional wrestler and protect the sacred sport from people like him, because all he cares about is himself. He says you aren't a champion, you are a mark for yourself. Cody then tells Gunther that he's a liar. He says every kid dreams of what he has, and he doesn't believe that Gunther doesn't want what he has. Cody says he knows he wants it, or he would be talking to a 300-pound version of himself at an indie show, which I think is a bit of a personal dig. Not really into body shaming. He says that when he was fighting for the title, Heyman used to tell him all the things that came with it, but it didn't scare him or intimidate him. He says that the title is addictive, and he says that Gunther is just as sick as he is. He says you're going to get this close and then you're going to realise that you just aren't that good. Cody says I'm easy to find, hard to beat. He goes to leave and Gunther pulls him back and tells him you think I'm a liar. He says I promised Goldberg I would end him and I did. I said I would end AJ and I did. And I promised I would make Cena tap and I did. He says I'm now promising you that I will choke you out and I will take the title with me. And that is how we go off air. Now, as far as segments go, I thought that was quite good. As I've always said, I think there's quite a lot of truth and some blurring of the lines in Gunther's side of the promo especially. I am starting to wonder if some of the people writing these promos and storylines have actually got a genuine problem with Cody, because we seem to keep looping back to this theme of whoever Cody is facing, they're always saying that they feel he's had things handed to him and he's basically got a silver spoon and all that kind of stuff. I hope, obviously, Cody retains, and I hope when we get the next feud, it's something slightly different with maybe a different angle. But I like that as a final segment. They didn't lay hands on each other this time, keeping their powder dry for Clash in Italy, which I obviously think is a good thing. And I thought, all in all, this was a stronger show tonight and not a bad go-home show for Clash in Italy. As you know, I absolutely love these European crowds, and I always think that lifts things. And I think even if we get a show that's a little bit worse than normal, if we put in a European crowd with all their energy, excitement, and just the genuine buzz of it, I think it lifts it more than a few percentage points. Personally, I'm quite looking forward to Clash on Sunday, and I think we'll have to see what happens. And I hadn't realised that King and Queen of the Ring was quite that close either, which is another, I guess, tournament event that I really enjoy, and obviously gives us a really good new couple of title angles going into SummerSlam. So I guess we'll have to see how all of that works out. I think we've also got a AAA show this weekend where we've got Mask versus Mask, and I think we're going to have what's been probably one of the slowest burning stories, and I know it was because of injuries and stuff to the original El Grande Americano, but I think we're going to end up with an unveiling of finally who's who. Obviously we know who each of the El Grande Americanos are, but still it's been quite an enjoyable and fun angle. Anyway, guys, that just about does it for this week's show. I'm not here next week. I'm away on my holiday, so I'll see you the week after. Thank you for having me in your ears once again, and remember, until next time, be kind.
Thanks for listening to the WWE Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast app so you don't miss a show, or head to WWEpodcast.com. And for all of these shows ad-free, head over to patreon.com/WWE Podcast. Until then, we'll see you next time.